He's had games where he hasn't been effective. He's been effective in the 2 games that he scored.
He's created 1 chance all season, just 161 minutes.
Okay, maybe I go from B- to a C in that. No, I mean, my logic is similar to Nico's. It's just that opportunity, and then I think I just give a little bit of a bump based on club ability to start. But yeah, I mean, I'd be totally comfortable with going with a C here.
So we've got some teachers in attendance today. Professor Guerreros, our favorite. Profesora. Christine Cupo. And then Nico Cantor. You give me like principal vibes. All right, worth it or not? Were some of these signings from the summer worth it or not? Each of you are going to give a letter grade as we run through the list of some of these players based on their performances now that we are midway through the season. We got to kick it off with Julián Alvarez, who is the leading goal scorer all comps for Atlético Madrid, but has struggled a bit consistency-wise, if you're going to get nitpicky in La Liga with his goal scoring. But Atletico Madrid, they're sitting atop the table, and it's hard not to look at this one as a big, fat positive. But what say you? What grade would you give this move? Oh, whoa, what's that?
Wow.
C+.
Yeah.
That was
I don't hate Argentines, but come on, be a little bit objective.
No one said I hate Argentines. I'm going with C+ only because it's 5 goals so far, and it's not the most.
In La Liga.
In La Liga.
But it hasn't been the most consistent. They need to win La Liga. It's a good opportunity.
He's got 12 goals all comps.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I go A- because I think he's been a great signing. I think that it was a bit of a transition because Simeone is a little bit more defense-centric, so he doesn't get to play as freely as we know he can be and be a little bit more creative. But I think that he's absolutely on fire. He's been doing great for them.
I mean, when you look at his production through just 26 games, 12 goals, I mean, last season he scored 19 in 51 games for City. I mean, he's performing already better. And
he's giving Pep the I told you so special right now.
He definitely picked it up in this latter portion of the season where Atlético Madrid have been on fire. I'm not so sure if he's on fire quite yet. I thought giving him an A was a little bit generous. For any type of A would have been a little bit generous in my principal opinion, because you paid him a lot of money. You paid City a lot of money for him, and you'd expect him to cross that edge where he's.
It almost sounds like you agree with C+, because that's exactly what I would have said.
No, I'm giving him a B+ because he's got the goals. He hasn't been consistent enough, as you said, Ali, but he doesn't put the team on his back as much. He doesn't carry a lot of the weight, but that's credit to Simeone because a lot of the guys within the system, it's proven to be successful, or at least in this latter portion of the semester, where they've been able to put games away, albeit late, albeit suffering a little bit in crunch time, but Julián Alvarez hasn't really necessarily been the main focal point.
I agree with that, but I think that's where my little asterisk comes in, where an adjustment to Simeone, their tactics, their style of play, which I think doesn't necessarily suit him as well as it could. A-.
Sure, I'm willing to entertain that. C+ is just,
That's
you're just
crazy.
being rude.
Real quick, how much did they pay for him? 78? What was it?
Okay, Alexis, how many goals would move your grade from a C? What was it? C-, C+?
C+.
C+. Okay. How many goals would he have had to score right now for you to say he's a B+ or an A?
He's trending for 10 goals in a season. You didn't pay that much money for 10 goals in a season in La Liga. So for me, if he would have had 8 or 9, I'd be like, okay. 5?
All right, off to the Bundesliga.
He's still passing.
We go. Michael Olise to Bayern Munich from Crystal Palace. Over 60 mil for this move. What say all of you? Right now, Olise has the 3rd most goals and tied for most assists on the squad. Not too bad, especially when you consider the likes of Harry Kane that he's competing with for that stat line. Okay, here we go. Nico, another B. B+ for Cupo and an A for Alexis. Okay.
How are you going to give him an A? You know what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would have hated to have Alexis as a teacher. I can tell you that much.
A grade on a curve.
Alexis is the teacher. You got to bring sweets or something.
Yeah,
to be like,
100%.
Well, then you would have had an A in the class.
You better have some Riz, bro, if you want me to give you a good grade.
Okay, before we get into the rationale from Cupo and Nico, I want to hear why you think an A for Olise.
He's just been effective when on the ball. I think this is a big opportunity for him to really put himself in a position to be a big name in a big club. You know, taking that step up from a Palace to a Bayern Munich. I think he's done that flawlessly. I think he has 5 assists and 5 goals so far, just in Bundesliga. Bringing Bayern back to that place where Bayern is supposed to be. Olise is a slam dunk of a signing. He's fit perfectly in, and seems like he's playing at a level where people maybe thought he didn't have that step up. He certainly does. Well worth the money. To me, that's an A.
Wow, what do you know? Another guy who only has 5 league goals. Crazy.
Yeah, not the striker though. Isn't that crazy?
No, I know, and they didn't pay as much for him. I'm just poking fun.
On a team that scores for fun. I don't know. I mean, I give him a B. That's great. I mean, to throw an A, I think you need to be carrying that weight that really says,
yeah,
I'm the guy on this team. And obviously,
is that why they signed him?
Harry, but to be an extraordinary compliment to Harry Kane, he's on the way.
He is. And the other thing, my score B+, because Crystal Palace, yes, he did excel there. However, it was a singular focus. Right now, he's got 9 goals, 9 assists, all comps for Bayern. So it shows that he's able to diversify. He can take off those bigger loads, and he's consistent.
Sure, I'll give him B+. I'll adjust my grade. Yeah. A, you need to be
that.
Excellent.
Okay.
We're so simpatico.
All right, moving on to Endrick to Real Madrid. And hoo-wee, this is a guy with so much upside. Has just made 1 start in the Champions League and is on a Real Madrid team that hasn't quite lived up to the heights that some of us expected, especially with some of the stars on this squad. So what do you guys think? What grade would you give the move for Endrick?
I'm going to be nice.
I'm going to say C for Charlton. Bobby Charlton.
Would you give Julián Alvarez C-?
C+.
Don't mind, Alexis. I don't know what curve he's grading on.
Nico, you kick us off.
Yeah, listen, he's very young. We didn't expect him to get that much playing time, and this C is also affected by the lack of playing time he's given. Not necessarily his fault. He's scored this goal.
2 goals in 15 appearances.
He scored this 1 goal here.
This is in the Champions League. I mean, in La Liga, he also has a goal, but there are other. The depth chart is very deep, and he's far from the top. So we'll see if he improves. If
he's a kid.
But so is Arda Güler.
Sure, but when you come in, be effective. When he's come in, he's been effective. I can't fault him for that.
He's had games where he hasn't been effective. He's been effective in the 2 games that he scored.
He's created 1 chance all season, just 161 minutes.
Okay, maybe I go from B- to a C in that. No, I mean, my logic is similar to Nico's. It's just that opportunity, and then I think I just give a little bit of a bump based on club ability to start. But yeah, I mean, I'd be totally comfortable with going with a C here.
Okay, let's keep moving it right along and talk about everyone's favorite club on this desk, Tottenham. Dominic Solanke and his move. How would you rate what he has done so far with Spurs?
Yeah.
But B feels very generous. Anything
I'm somewhere
B,
in between
right?
that too.
I'm gonna go B-, but I'm willing to entertain that this is a C+. Because
B-?
Spurs are not great at the moment. You know, and a lot. You need your main goal scorer to be scoring more than he does. And
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
I'm in between there. I think that he's one of Spurs' best signings in recent seasons. However, the caveat being, it's still Spurs. It's largely sort of in ruins, in and out. Also, if this is supposed to be plugging a hole for, like, say, a Harry Kane, those are big boots to fill. So I'm okay with a C+ here.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure why this is the type of profile striker they went for.
Why does your C have a double chin?
Because so do I.
I think you tried to give us a 3D effect, and
he did good.
I think I did a pretty good job.
He did
I'm
good.
not going to lie to you. All right, maybe I think you're being as tough a critic on me as I am some of these players.
On Solanke.
like if you're Spurs,
somebody's got to do it.
You need to sign a guy that's a killer always. Obviously,
club legend. How are you going to replace a club legend
that plays for Spurs? You're playing in the shadow of Harry Kane, right?
But maybe their next manager, he plays different. It's a different format.
But maybe
system.
and maybe to win that second trophy that Ange says that he always wins the trophy that Ange says that he always wins in his second year. You need a guy that doesn't waste chances. And Solanke has proven that he can be wasteful despite a pretty decent output. Like, the numbers that he's putting up aren't bad, but overall, Spurs is what, 14th, 13th, 12th, they're bottom half of the table, like.
Which doesn't all come down to Solanke, but
69 million.
we're grading just we're grading just the individual here.
It's very hard to remove the context from the grades of the players.
Yeah,
because
that's very true.
You can't extrapolate that. It's a team sport. Everything shapes how and what their capacity is. So there's a little bit of that that's going to be thrown in here, whether we want to admit it or not.
Endrick, for the seldom minutes he has, I would have upped my grade. I probably would have given him a B+, right? But you've got to take into consideration that he isn't winning over Ancelotti. Ancelotti doesn't choose him deliberately.
He's also a child.
That would hurt my feelings. I'm going to be honest with you. I would lie awake at night like Don Carlo didn't choose me.
That's icing on the cake. I can't hold it against you if you, as a teenager, aren't
so
getting chosen.
So is Arda Güler. And
which is icing on the cake. That's a benefit. That is a good thing for Arda Güler. I'm not going to blame you if you're not getting picked as a teenager. I'm going to give you plaudits, and I give plaudits to Arda Güler.
Okay, so no player that we went through got an A+, but each of you do feel that there are players or a player that is deserving of an A+ grade. Cupo, who was your A+ summer signing?
Like that. I chose Retegui. I did. I think that
huge shot.
Mrs. Atalanta.
Yeah, Atalanta.
No, I am too. I'm with you.
Gasperini managed to turn him back on, to get him to perform and overperform, irrespective of his current injury. He has sort of reinvigorated and shown himself to be that guy, which is exactly what was needed both for Atalanta but also for the Azzurri. So I think that for me, Retegui, you could see that he was quite capable, but I don't think that you expected with that signing that you'd get this version of him. The consistency, the ability to play so well in this squad, in that system.
Yeah. All right, Alexis, you're next.
I'm going to go with Nikola Milenkovic, who came from Fiorentina to Nottingham Forest. The reason I'm so surprised is, as a center back, you figure you're going to Nottingham Forest, you're going to be fighting for relegation. He is one of the catalysts as to why this team is playing so well. One of the things that I think Nuno Espirito Santo has done so incredibly well with Nottingham Forest is not only be dangerous when having the ball, but also find a way to be really, really tight with your defense and almost make it impossible to score. Milenkovic is one of those players that really you fear as a center back, that you feel like you have to play around, and I don't think anyone was expecting that. Young guy, he's 27 years old, he's just hitting his peak. He's not necessarily sort of, one of these players that you're bringing in who's a wily veteran, and he's not the youngest guy in the world, but he is perfectly situated for this team. There's no drop off when it comes to playing in the Premier League for this guy. It seems like he's been playing there his whole career.
That's a great shout. And also, I think that a lot of the fact that people didn't expect much from Milenkovic is that people don't have a lot of eyes on Serie A like they should. He's been that guy. He's rock solid. But seeing the acclamation to the Prem and Nottingham, seamless, which that part's gone awry many times with players coming from Italy. That's a great shout.
A Balkan center back is invaluable.
Just for the vibes,